So I was recording my footage for Mr. Gold, and since it's an adventure game, I was just following a walkthrough. If I don't do that, there's a real chance I won't get enough footage for the video. And at about 15 minutes into recording, I noticed that I was at the end of the walkthrough. At that point, a very long cutscene kicked in which essentially the entire plot of the game occurred. So it wasn't quite over at that point, but this is still an extremely short game. Mr. Gold is based on Toyama Sakura Uchujo Natsu no Nawa Gold, which could be translated as Toyama Sakura Space Story, The Man's Name is Gold. It started out as a short novel, but it had an animated adaptation right before this game came out, and the graphics and packaging are definitely based on that. This is the point where I'd be showing you footage of that adaptation, but it's really hard to get your hands on that. It seems that Gold didn't make very much gold. And just to make things a hair more confusing, the game has a subtitle that is similar to, but not quite the same as the title used for everything else. Toyama no Kin-san Space Joe, which could be translated as Toyama's Mr. Gold Space Story. And all of this is really based on a historical novel by the title of Maboroshi Bugyo. I spent more time trying to unravel this property than I did playing the game. We'll just stick to the gold stuff. Mr. Gold is the son of one of the magistrates that run a future space colony. Though despite it being in the future, everything looks pretty suburban. Mr. Gold's father is attacked, and then assassins start attacking Mr. Gold as well. Gold investigates, but he comes under suspicion himself when there's video of Gold performing some of these attacks. By the way, that entire last sentence occurs in the cutscene right before the end of the game. Gold will have to use the evidence he's collected in order to defend himself in a trial and find the real culprit. This is a menu-driven adventure game similar to other adventure games on consoles at the time. You pick your verb from a menu, then you might have to pick an object that you're going to do that action to, and then you find out what happens. The interface in Mr. Gold can only display 4 lines at once, so often commands will be off the screen and you'll have to hit left and right to access them. You'll spend a lot of time driving around the space colony, and when you do so, you have to enter coordinates that you're going to drive to. Here you have a north and east coordinate. You switch which one you're changing by hitting left and right, though there's no indication of which one you're changing. And for north, hitting up makes the number go down, while hitting down makes the number go up, while for east, hitting up makes the number go up, and hitting down makes the number go down. I don't know how you could screw up an interface that badly, but this game is published by Toei, and this is the kind of quality that I've come to expect from them. Something that you'll notice if you play Mr. Gold is that there is a lot of loading time. It's rare that you enter more than 1 or 2 commands at a location before moving on, unless you're drilling down into the actions. And they didn't seem to store any graphics in memory, so whenever anything happens, even if it's just changing the image on the screen, you have to sit there for about 15 seconds while the game loads. This won't be as bad if you're just playing it naturally, but considering how few options you have, it's still going to be pretty bad. In the trial scene, the game abandons graphics pretty much altogether. You just get to pick out witnesses to talk to, or evidence to present, and then flow through that until you're found not guilty. In Japan, this is an amazingly obscure game. Between being released on the Famicom Disk System, being a tie-in to a property that no one cared about, and being a pretty awful adventure game, no one has anything to say about Mr. Gold. And yeah, this is a real nothing of a game. They basically tried to pad the game out by having you slowly drive around everywhere, but there's still not enough game here that it makes a huge difference. And really, there's nothing better for storytelling than dumping your entire plot in one long exposition scene 3/4 of the way through the story. I don't know if Mr. Gold is the worst adventure game I've played on a Nintendo platform, but it's definitely down there.